In the day's other headlines, the Justice Department announced criminal charges today against the Southern Poverty Law Center over its past use of paid informants to infiltrate extremist groups. Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche told reporters late this afternoon that the charges include wire fraud, bank fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Earlier in the day, the head of the organization says that while it no longer works with paid informants, their contributions had been invaluable.
When we began working with informants, we were living in the shadow of the height of the civil rights movement, which had seen bombings at churches, state-sponsored violence against demonstrators, and the murders of activists that went unanswered by the justice system. There is no question that what we learned from informants saved lives.
The Southern Poverty Law Center was founded in 1971 and has long been criticized by Republicans who say it unfairly targets conservative groups and individuals. Last year, FBI Director Kash Patel said the agency was severing its ties with the center, which for years had provided law enforcement with research on domestic extremism. In Virginia, voters are deciding on a redistricting plan that could help Democrats pick up as many as 4 U.S. House seats in the midterm elections. If approved, today's referendum would amend Virginia's constitution to give Democrats the power to redraw the state's congressional districts. Supporters say it's needed to offset Republican redistricting efforts in places like Texas, while opponents say they prefer the status quo.
Well, I just want to even with Democrats in Virginia. I just want to be even, like Democrats and Republicans.
The boundaries were set a long time ago, I guess, I'm assuming, and I just didn't like the idea of changing.
Democrats hold 6 of Virginia's 11 congressional seats. Even if voters approve today's measure, it could still face legal challenges before taking effect. The Pentagon unveiled details today about its $1.5 trillion budget request for the coming fiscal year. About $750 billion would go to what officials are calling presidential priorities, including a Golden Dome missile defense system, AI infrastructure, and drones. Service members would also get a pay raise, with junior enlisted troops getting a 7% bump. The Pentagon also hopes to grow its force by around 44,000 troops. If approved by Congress, the budget would be the largest in U.S. history when adjusted for inflation. Also today, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced that U.S. military personnel will no longer be required to get their annual flu shot. In a video posted to social media, Hegseth described the mandate as, quote, overly broad and not rational. Instead, the vaccine will be voluntary for all active duty and reserve troops effective immediately. The annual flu vaccine has been standard for service members since the 1950s. Some public health experts warn that today's decision could weaken troop readiness. Authorities in Mexico say the gunman who opened fire at the famous Teotihuacan pyramids acted alone and that he planned the attack beforehand. Eyewitness video shows the 27-year-old Mexican national firing a weapon yesterday. A Canadian woman was killed and at least 13 others were injured. The suspect later died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Authorities say he was carrying a tactical-style backpack with a cell phone, bus tickets, and materials that appear to reference the 1999 Columbine High School shooting. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum says security will be stepped up at such sites following the attack.
No habíamos presenciado algo así en México.
We had not witnessed anything like this in Mexico. It is the first time this has happened. Based on everything indicated by prosecutorial authorities, this person showed signs of psychological problems and was influenced by incidents that occurred abroad.
Also today, multiple media outlets are reporting that the 2 Americans killed in a car accident in Mexico on Sunday were CIA officers. They were reportedly returning from a counter-cartel operation in northern Mexico. President Sheinbaum said in a separate appearance yesterday that her administration had no prior knowledge of their activities and that Mexico would investigate whether any national security laws were broken. On Wall Street today, stocks ended lower amid that uncertainty over the Iran ceasefire talks. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped nearly 300 points. The Nasdaq fell more than 0.5% on the day. The S&P 500 also ended the session in the red. Still to come on the News Hour, another member of Congress resigns for ethics reasons. a senior Hezbollah leader in his first interview on American television. And Apple enters a new phase with Tim Cook stepping down as CEO.
This is the PBS News Hour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington, headquarters of PBS News.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.